Welcome back from the AM News on Global Television this beautiful day. It's now time for us to get into the conversation for the day. Well, my name is Ramsey, and of course, I have my guests join me in the studio as we talk about the Realignment 2027 election. My God, there's so many permutations going on, and of course, a lot of people are saying so many things. Alignment and realignment by political office holders, statements from one place to the other. So today, we're looking at 2027 politics, opposition forces align, and realignment for presidency in 2027. It's our focus today, and of course, my guest is Ejeh, a legal practitioner and of course a political analyst. It's good to have you join us on the program today.
Thank you for
have I seen you this year? I don't think so.
Yes.
I've seen you this
year.
Oh! I thought I've seen you for the first time this year. Well,
my second third time.
It's not enough. Happy New Year. The year. I feel the more you tell people Happy New Year, the newer the year becomes.
Happy New Year to you too.
Thank you. That's on a lighter note. Let's get into the discussion for the day. Well, it's good to smile because it has so much to do with your system, even the way you are smiling right there, right now. Alignment and realignment of political office holders towards 2027. Have you noticed what is happening right now? The big names. Chieftains in the Labour Party and People's Democratic Party have said, hey, come on. 2023 presidential candidate of PDP in the person of Atiku Abubakar should forget about 2027, that, hey, it should still go to the south. One, there is a lot of controversies in the People's Democratic Party right now. Then, the Labour Party's presidential candidate has also made a statement in the past. Then you begin to think about the fact that people move from one political party to the other and try forming alliances, or should I say mergers, so that they can seat a certain government. All of these are tilting towards 2027. Someone says something that's the very first day a politician comes into office, that same day they start planning for the next election. My guest will be answering a few questions and, of course, analyzing some of these moves right now by political office holders. Do you think it's too early to start preparing for 2027? Like some Nigerians are saying, hey, come on, don't focus on 2027 election yet, but focus on governance because the people are facing a lot of hardship. But do you think it's too early to get preparing for 2027?
It's not too early at all. In fact, it's already even late if any political party or candidate has not started preparations for 2027. We're already in 2025. They just have barely a year to use for very serious preparations, consultations here and there, meetings here and there, and then issues of candidacy are not very easy or simple issues that you just wake up and take decisions on. So by the time we realize it, parties are already holding their primaries and then the elections will be fixed. So it's already, I think a serious politician should have been done with his preparations for 2027 elections.
Just in 2025?
Yes.
So it means of the same school of thought that the very first day politicians get into office, that same day they start preparing for the next election.
Definitely, that is how it should be. Because if you fail to plan, eventually it means you are planning to fail. So I can even tell you that the major gladiator in the scheme of things, as it were, would have been planning this in the past 10, 15, 20, 30 years. So his options would have been on ground, his decisions would have been taken, and already maybe what he's doing now is achieving the goals he has set for the purpose of clinching or being re-elected again in 2027. So if anybody stands up now and says, oh, this is 2025, there are elections in 2027, and I just want to start preparing for 2027, that person will be telling a big lie. Maybe some of those who even participated in the last general elections took that role or participated in the elections as preparations for 2027. They tested the waters, tested the grounds, put their names there in people's minds, in people's mouths, on the billboards and everywhere. And then, you know, they are also part of the discussion. So definitely, some of them knew that they will not get a win in 2023, but they feel that, you know, let people know that I'm around. Maybe I'll be very fortunate in 2027. So when you were doing the introduction to this particular discussion, I heard you mention some of the meetings that are currently going on, the move by a particular known politician from the northern axis trying to build bridges amongst opposition members and then cement relationships here and there, probably with a view to having a consensus candidate on the side of the opposition for 2027. So I'm not surprised, as an astute politician that he is, and having participated in the build-up to the elections that brought in this current political party, and subsequently the current president and government. Let me just mention the name. I'm simply talking about Rufai. So Rufai, having been a very serious minded politician who has made his mark in the politics of our country, he understands what it means to run these meetings early, to consult those you need to consult, to discuss the things you need to discuss, because whether you like it or not, these discussions need to be ongoing, so that some of the things that the former opposition now turned government of the day, some of the mistakes they made early when they started their bid to take power from PDP will probably be avoided, and I hope it is. But from what I saw in 2023 and what I hear Peter Obi said, with respect to, he's not interested in grabbing power, he's interested in things that the interest of the country and the citizenry. So anything, any program, any meeting, any initiative that is geared towards just grabbing power without any clear-cut plan or agenda for the people is not interested in it, you know that you'll be able to hazard a guess that they must have had some very serious conversations with respect to how to go about 2027. But my fear still remains that, will these people, will they allow one person to take the front seat amongst themselves while others, delay or postpone their own interests? Do they do that? This is one question that I'm not seeing my way through with respect to an answer to. So if these politicians, the opposition, will not come together as one, then we'll have a big problem already. Because I think, was it last week or 2 weeks ago, I heard about this mass defection from one of the parties to another party, to APC. And some northern voices were saying, I think it was from Northeast or so, I can't really, but I know there was this mass exodus of party members into the APC. And some people were saying, it's not going to change anything. But I don't think it will not change anything, because as a politician, your first interest is to win elections. Whether we like it or not, it's not about the people, it's just a normal principle of success. If I'm a politician, I should contest and win elections. That's what makes me a politician. So if at the end of the day, we have people defecting from, if I'm one, for example, and I'm moving from my party to another party, it should give me a cause of concern. And those that are moving, do we blame them?
But there is this culture of people moving from other parties to the ruling party. Number one, for minority reasons, because some persons, every one of them have their reasons. As someone like Ned Moko, he said he wasn't getting the support from his governor also concerning the annual state of a thing. That's what the reason he brought to the fore. But there might be so many other things to that. For some persons, they feel we don't need to stay in this minority party in preparation for 2027, and they decide to move from one party to the other. The issue of cross-carpeting, because we're talking of aligning and of course realigning of politicians towards 2027 election. Now, what would you have to say about cross-carpeting? You talked about El-Rufai a moment ago. El-Rufai is someone that has been a minister, and of course he has been a governor, meaning he has been in governance for a period of time. And these people need to be tested and trusted for them to get a vote again, if we want to go by a free and fair election anyway. As it is right now, looking at the caliber of the person that El-Rufai is, because some persons are already making statement that the way he's going, walking, moving about with Atiku, has he become a PA to Atiku and all of that. Some persons made that statement. Now, looking at, he's an APC, I hope you remember, and this is someone now trying to bring people together, war oppositions, so that they can form alliance against his own party. Don't you think a wise and smart politician will be thinking otherwise? Being in a particular party for several years, then all of a sudden you're coming to fight against the party, and some Nigerians are saying all of this is happening because he didn't get a place to be a minister because of what happened in Kaduna State that was held against him during the screening.
Well, El-Rufai's being in APC and then win opposition against his own party is not a new precedent. It's not something new. There's been precedents for that. In fact, one of the major actors in this current government is known to be a political, how will I call it now, they used to describe him as a political merchant at some point in time. He knows that, oh, this thing, I can't get it. But we'll discuss with someone if he knows or feels will get it and canvass votes for that person. Without, he doesn't do it personally. But somehow you will see that, oh, maybe the governor, the gubernatorial elections goes to his party, and then the presidential election goes to the opposition. It has happened before, you know. So, and then we can take a cue also from the recent events with respect to Nyesom Wike and how he has gone about. He's in PDP, but he's also in romance with the APC, and we saw the outcome in Rivers State during the 2023 presidential elections. So if El-Rufai is also flying the same jet, we shouldn't be surprised. It's just that maybe it just gives the impression that we are not very serious-minded people. We are not people who are principled, who are rooted in ideological politics. So that is the picture, that is the impression, the perception that we create and we give to people. If not, I don't see why I'll be in a party and then be openly canvassing for support for forces against that same party. I think the noble thing for anybody to do part-time is to exit the party if you are no longer comfortable with what is happening within the party, and then proceed to create alliances or join new political parties. But like I said, it is what it is. They are not, our politics is not being run on ideology. In fact, let me say, the first time you will have something like an inkling of ideology is probably the current government, because everybody knows that, oh, they are capitalist driven and in terms of their economic policies, while at the same time trying to see how they can give the impression that they are trying to reach out to MSMEs and so on and so forth. But from the way the policies we've seen, the economic policies we've encountered since 2023, you know that they are basically capitalist driven. Now for others, I don't know whether they are pro-capitalist, whether they are socialist, whether it's just a potpourri of whatever it is. But now El-Rufai is doing this on the one side, and then we are ordinarily expecting that some people are saying, oh, he's disenchanted, maybe because he lost out from the ministerial bid and so on and so forth. Well, I don't know the behind the scenes politics that played out within the party at that time. But what I know is that there was a last meeting he had with the president, and after which he left the country and said he was going to go after some academic pursuits. And here we are, he's running his politics. So we give it to him. Maybe he's taking his cue from the FCT minister, and he's doing what exactly he is doing. But where will it lead? Where will all of this lead?
That's the question I wanted to ask. This is not a true practice of democracy. That doesn't pass a good message to people who are coming up. And that's to tell you that this politics is becoming a politics of interest, personal interest, and not the interest of the people anymore. And so as it is right now, 2027, some persons are saying, well, it is not easy to offseat a sitting government, especially after their first term. Now, there is this advice coming from some chieftains of the People's Democratic Party and Labour Party for Atiku Abubakar that he should forget about 2027. And some persons have made some statements that Atiku Abubakar is not someone that gives up easily. But then, what would you say about that advice?
Well, I'll start from here. I think it was towards the end of last week, the media was agog with the fact that former military president Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida wrote a book, and that book was launched, and with all of the things that accompanied, the issues that accompanied it. But you see, the elder statesman, IBB, had also tried to be elected the civilian president, and somehow he didn't achieve it. He tried. He bought forms on 1 or 2 or 3 occasions. Somehow there's this rumor that the government of the day at the time was not disposed to his candidacy, and then he dropped the bid. Now, I think Atiku's best moment was when he allowed former President Olusegun Obasanjo to take the second bite at the cherry. That was his best moment. He had everything set for him to become the next president. Because what played out at the time was that while the former president was going around trying to take care of the international front with respect to our relationship with them and our financial status and all of that, trying to get debt relief and whatnot, Atiku Abubakar handled the whole front, particularly the economic policy, the privatization and the deregulation policies at that time. So it was very powerful. He had the resources, he had everything, and it was even rumored that it was pleaded with that the former president had to persuade him somehow to allow him contest. So he lost, he agreed. I don't know what arrangement it was they had. It never materialized. So now Atiku has been contesting for primaries in PDP, and he has been picking that ticket. And the reason why this issue of South-North appears to have lost its place in PDP politics is because of what happened during the Yar'Adua era. So we had a good Lord Jonathan who had been vice president, I think, for about 2 years. Then his principal lost his life, and then at the end of the day, it took the next 2 years amidst serious opposition from the north. But of course, the constitution permits him to take that seat, so he rightfully did. After those 2 years, the north says, oh, this ticket is for us, this seat is for us, please can we take it again for the next 4 years? And they say, oh, no. I think Baba was also in the mix at that time too. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo, was one of those who persuaded and said, look, allow him, he's just going to do 1 term and he will leave. Now, he got it, he did his 1 term, plus the 2 years he took, that's 6 years. instead of him to quietly sit back and allow the PDP's rotational presidency north-south to play the lead role in deciding, no, he will not agree. Some of his statesmen, one of them just passed recently, was busy up and down, threatening brimstone and fire, and so on. And that is where the problem lies. Everything that is happening today politically has its immediate cause from that particular decision. So he decided to contest, and they lost it to the current government. So since then, and when it came to the time for primaries again, the likes of Atiku and others kept on saying, no, this arrangement was not kept. At the time we ought to keep it. Let us go to the field. And they kept on going to the field. And as you know what plays out now. The person who has that thing definitely will pick the ticket. And that is where we are. Is Atiku right? Yes. He has the constitutional right to contest elections, regardless of what the party constitution or the party convention or arrangement is. It is right. So you can always go there, but whether you win or not, it depends on what the general party structure is.
In other words,
Atiku can still contest if he wants to.
Okay, that's the question I wanted to ask, because I wanted to ask if you are foreseeing Atiku in 2027.
That is his constitutional right. But if you ask me, that outside this constitutional right, if you take other factors into consideration, should Atiku still contest? I will say no. Because it's not doing the party any good, and it will not do the opposition any good.
But with the problem in the People's Democratic Party, don't you even think that fielding a presidential candidate is going to be a problem if this situation is not being arrested before time? Remember the G5 governors, then the wicked faction, the National Secretary Division in the National Working Committee, and everything happening in the People's Democratic Party.
Forget about PDP for now. I'm not seeing them in any serious contest for the 2027 general elections. Period. I'm not. So if you take out the PDP, what else is left of the opposition? PDP appears to be the biggest opposition party that we have today, if you go by the books and what we have. Whether they are playing that role actively is what I do not know. The same way that we describe Nigeria as the big brother of Africa, and then when you begin to ask yourself whether we are actually playing that role or we have that status outside what the books have told us, then it becomes another issue. It's the same way that I'm considering all of this. So at the end of the day, they are big opposition, they are empty opposition as far as I'm concerned. That house has not been put together till today. Maybe by this night they call themselves, they hold the meeting, they decide who takes what, and that is what the older generation that are currently being phased out, that was what they had going on for them. They could sit down and reach decisions. Oh, you take this, you take that. It was what the likes of the current president also did. Oh, okay, if I probably contest now, I won't get it. Let Buhari go. After Buhari, then I take a bite at it. And they were able to win. Initially, before now, they've had several meetings to get themselves together, and they never succeeded. So Atiku has that constitutional right too, but I will advise that he shouldn't, because if he had not done it in 2023, if he had allowed a southern candidate in 2023, there is a high possibility that the contest would have been better contested than the way it went, because the spill out was the exit of the likes of the Labour Party candidate Peter Obi, and we saw how the votes went. So you can imagine those votes consolidated and they being for PDP. You can imagine how the outcome would have been. But as we speak currently, that unity is not there amongst the opposition. So if the election holds today, it's going to be a walkout.
This is going to be a walkout for APC.
For the president to stand in the National Assembly and announce
he is found elected.
What are we saying?
Well, we're talking about it's Nigerian politics. We're talking about right here on Global Morning today on Global Television, and as a matter of fact, we are looking at alignment and realignment of oppositions in 2027. What's the possibility right now? How strong are the political parties that should actually give the ruling party a run for their money? That's what we're talking about this morning. Atiku Abubakar and PDP, one faction of PDP, remember. Then the Labour Party. Let's talk about the Labour Party a little bit, because if you say there is no party to give APC a run for their money, the first two parties that would come to mind is the People's Democratic Party and the Labour Party, who had their presidential candidates in 2023 to be His Excellency Peter Obi, who had made a statement in the national dailies a few days ago, was it yesterday or thereabout, that he is not, underlines that was on Saturday. He said he is not desperate for the ticket in 2027. Is that a political statement, or he meant it?
Well, it was William Shakespeare who said there is no heart finding the mind's construction on the face. So he has said what he said. Even the devil will not be able to say what his intents are. But on the face of it, I've seen his efforts. Initially, when they lost, after they lost the election, it was a little bit quiet. He wasn't talking much. He was just observing until one of the major loyalists he had, Barrister Okonkwo, who was a former actor, so Kenneth Okonkwo, made some comments with respect to the, how will I call it now, passive posture that Peter Obi took with respect to political discourse at the time. And now he's talking, he's saying, he's criticizing government, at least he's saying, so you will know that there's this effort on his side to still be relevant, at least at the level of the opposition. Now, is he desperate? I've not seen anything about him that says he's desperate. But is he ambitious? Yes, he is ambitious, and he should be concerned about what happens to that ambition. Not just because of himself, but because many Nigerians place so much reliance and hope on him. So it should also give him a reason. Well, I think the problem is with the word desperate. But if you can pick the definition of desperate and just slam it on yourself and ensure you get that ticket and eventually get that election, because a lot of people feel there is a special breed from the old politician. A lot of people, whether I share that opinion or not, I won't want to state it here anyway, but a lot of people just anchor their hopes on him. So if he doesn't want those people's hopes dashed, he should please try and be desperate, because Nigerian politics is not meant for passive people. It is meant for desperate, die-hard people.
All right, that's politics for you. That's Nigerian politics. But then, what about the trouble in the Labour Party? Remember, it's not just in PDP that will have troubles, because
the Labour Party's trouble is the most surprising to me. Going by the way they came up, by the things they said during the electioneering campaign, the high hopes they gave people, the notion people had that they will play politics differently. Events in recent times have shown that they are basically part of the bulk. They are the same people. Earlier on, when I just spoke, I said I don't want to go into too much analysis as to whether Peter Obi is not this or that or that. But you see, that Labour Party is not different from the other parties. They have their crisis. The first crisis was with respect to transparency, financial accountability. From the elections, the first issue was whether or not they released money to pay agents, whether the agents were paid, whether somebody was supposed to render a particular account and did not render, then the issue of the chairmanship here and there and so on and so forth, and the Apapa issue, who should fill in the gap, whether their chairman should remain, and all whatnot. It's not basically different. It's what we have been used to from the PDP and the APC. And that's what is still playing out. And of course, you can't take it away from them, the fact that some of the people who were in these two major parties found themselves in the Labour Party. So they bring in those antics there, and then all whatnot will begin to happen. And of course, the conspiracy theorists are also there, who have said that, the people causing the crisis within the party are being sponsored and so on and so forth. We always create excuses for bad behavior in this country. So we are where we are. And that is why I said earlier on that this 2027 election, the way things currently stand, appears to be a walkover. Whether people go out to vote or not, it remains a walkover. Because the issue is that many people are already disillusioned with what is happening, particularly with the Labour Party. So we might not even get, if you conduct elections today, it's possible you will not get people come out to vote the way they did in 2023.
That's certain, because a lot of people were disappointed.
Disappointment is,
have you forgotten?
So, even though I'm not...
have you forgotten what happened in 2023, that people had to travel all the way from abroad to come vote? And that was when people were clamoring for people voting from the diaspora, and so much happened in 2023 just because of a candidate that Nigerians believed in. But then what happened. We're actually looking forward to what will happen in 2027 if Peter Obi is still going to garner that support that he got in 2023. But then you said something very vital, that for him not to dash the confidence of the people, not for the people to feel betrayed. His ambition still needs to be intact, and all of that. A very big thank you to you very much, Barrister, for being part of the program today. Well, this is politics, of course, and you can't finish talking about it.
Exactly.
You can't finish talking about it. LFI 2027, what are you thinking? All right, Atiku Abubakar, is he coming again? What about Peter Obi? Is he stepping down for someone else? Are you foreseeing a merger? All these are questions in the heart of Nigerians, and a lot of people are looking forward to 2023. Are you also of the opinion that, well, the ruling party cannot be pushed aside easily in every election? I don't know, but so much in the hearts of Nigerians right now. All of this will be unfolding gradually as we move towards 2027, and a lot of people are already doing the calculations and the permutations, and of course the visit alignment and realignment towards 2027. Let's keep our fingers crossed and see what will happen in 2027. Once again, thank you very much for joining us on the conversation.
Thank you for having me.
This is the size of the first conversation. Are you thinking about technology? Are you thinking about fintech? What is on your mind? Have you been betrayed by the financial sector in recent time? How difficult is it for you to access your capital? What have you faced taking loan from the commercial banks in Nigeria? Do you think the fintech will do us better in this nation, looking at the economy right now? All of this will be unfolding in the second conversation. Stay with us on Global Morning as we bring you the second conversation, and we will be back after this break. Stay with us.